The Louisville Metro Housing Coalition was shocked and surprised when they found out that most landlords evict people for non-payment of rent. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting story for you today, and it's coming out of Louisville, Kentucky. So obviously, evictions, they happen all over the country. And so this Metro Housing Coalition wanted to find out why landlords were evicting people. And they put a report together, they surveyed landlords, and they were shocked and surprised when they found out that landlords evict people for non-payment of rent. It seems kind of obvious to me. Like, why did you have to waste time creating this report and doing the survey, wasting money? This is typical government bureaucracy where, it's like they have money burning a hole in their pocket and they want to waste it and spend it on something that common sense would tell them. But, it's ridiculous. It's stupid. Doesn't surprise me. Shouldn't surprise anyone. And it was a complete waste of time. But, there was some other interesting nuggets in there, like what they think that landlords should be doing instead of operating their properties like a business. I thought that was quite interesting, and the article itself, it has a video with it, and I'll play part of that video right now.
The report found most of the time landlords are evicting because of a non-payment. But in the same survey, most landlords disagreed with the eviction ban during the pandemic, most saying the moratorium was not a legitimate response to a public health crisis. Nearly half of the landlords say eviction is not a social problem, meaning they view it as a business problem. Tony Curtis with the Metro Housing Coalition says he knows landlords must run a business, but he wants them to remember that tenants are real people who need homes.
But people need houses over their heads in order to live, to stay healthy and safe, and to be able to be productive citizens, whether that be from an economic perspective or to achieve educational outcomes for families.
All right, you saw that video, so let's get into this article here. This article is coming from WHAS11.com, and it says, Louisville landlords explain motivations behind evictions in latest report. It's actually quite hilarious that they didn't realize that, hey, most landlords, they're running businesses here. So if they're not getting paid, they need to move along with the eviction process. So let's get into the article. The latest eviction report from Louisville shows a shocking disparity between the East End and West End, and it shows the impact larger real estate developers are having on an already fragile market. The 2022 Metro Housing Coalition report was used to get a better understanding of what motivates a landlord to evict someone. Here's how the process works. Someone could violate their lease by not paying rent on time, which a landlord would then file for eviction in court. The hearing would be held and a judge would make a final ruling, either siding with the landlord or not. The eviction would then be executed. The lowest rent the surveyed landlords were charging was still more than $600. The report found, most of the time, landlords evicted because of non-payment. What do you think we're evicting for, okay? So, do they think, and I realize that they don't have much common sense. They think that landlords have evil intentions overall, right? But they don't, okay? Landlords are operating businesses here. Now, imagine you go into the gas station, you want to get gas, and you don't have any money. Well, they're not going to give you any gas. Well, it works the same way when you're running a rental property, okay? If you want to live in my house and you don't have any money, you can't live there, okay? You got to go. You got to go somewhere else. I cannot pay for you to live in my house any more than I'm going to pay for someone else's gas in their car. Okay, the gas station ain't paying for your gas. I'm not paying for your house. Let us operate as businesses and let us make our profit and our money like we, that's the whole reason we're doing this. I'm not doing this out of goodness of my heart, okay? Yeah, I enjoy, the real estate business, but I don't enjoy it enough to pay for free housing for people. However, in the same survey, most landlords disagreed with the eviction ban during the pandemic. Most said the moratorium was not a legitimate response to the public health crisis. Nearly half the landlords said eviction is not a social problem and instead view it as a business problem. And I agree. Okay. Eviction is not a social problem. It is an individual problem for people who are unable to pay their debts. Okay. Now, when they say, oh, it's a social problem, what that means is that if you believe it's a social problem, you think it needs a social solution. And your social solution is socialism. Okay. You think the government should be involved. Yeah, I mean, if you believe the government should be involved, fine. Okay. But do not put that on a private business owner. Okay, you do not depend on the grocery store to provide free food for people. You don't depend on, even the water company charges for water. Water is necessary for life, but the water company charges for it. Okay, they don't give it away for free. Nothing is free. Not in this world, okay? Everything costs money. Maybe you can get something that somebody else has agreed to pay for, or maybe we'll all pool our money together, and pay taxes to provide something that all of us get to use, but somebody's still paying for it, okay? Nothing is free. Tony Curtis with the Metro Housing Coalition said he knows landlords must run a business, but he wants them to remember that tenants are real people who need homes. I'm going to stop right there, okay? Now, that goes back to this being a social issue, right? And so he's like, hey, landlords, I know you're running a business, but you need to keep the tenants in mind and know that they need homes. I'm like, no, that's I'm not the welfare system, okay? I am not the social housing provider here. I am not the government. I am an individual. I sell, use of my housing, okay? I sell that. I am not a nonprofit. You work for the government, right? If the government thinks this is a social issue that the government should handle, then the government needs to build public housing and house these people in it. I don't agree with that, but if you believe it's such a big problem, do not try to put it on my back and force me to pull money out of my pocket so that random people can have somewhere to live. People need houses over their heads in order to live, to stay healthy and safe, he said, and to be able to be productive citizens, whether that be from an economic perspective or to achieve educational outcomes for families. Curtis says solving the housing crisis in the metro will need to be a community conversation that includes landlords. Solving the housing crisis is, that isn't the responsibility of landlords, okay? Landlords, we are private business owners. It's kind of like saying, well, we have a transportation crisis going on. So we went down to the local car dealer and said, hey, listen, these people over here, they don't have any transportation. So you need to give them a car. Okay. I'm using these analogies because, I just want to show and point out just how ridiculous it is that they expect landlords to give away, stuff for free when they don't expect any other business to do the same thing. Okay. So yeah, I think this is a ridiculous article. I can't believe that they didn't realize that, hey, evictions are caused 90% of the time, plus 90+% of the time for non-payment of rent, and that most landlords are going to operate like a business and not like a social housing provider.